Welcome to Quantum Kinetics First Diffusion Season 3, Episode 1. I'm here with
Randal Bird, the President and Chief Operating Officer of Quantum Kinetics Corporation.
It's so good to have you on. I can't believe we made it to Season 3, Randal.
Man, this is, we're going to hit this.
Hey, strawberritas again.
Man, yeah.
Mm.
You know,
You like that one?
I think this is going in with a patent. We may as well just throw that in there as well.
Yeah, let's maybe trademark that one.
Yeah, excellent. So, wow, I'm just very excited as you that Season 3, it's taken 2 full seasons to get here, but man, what a journey, right?
Yeah, we're actually officially the largest nuclear fusion YouTube channel in the world, and we have the longest running nuclear fusion podcast in the world.
Wow. And hopefully with 360-something thousand subscribers, you're all, or something like that.
352 as of this morning.
Okay. That you're all enjoying this as well and appreciating that you're getting some content that's valuable, but also gives you some hope and insight of what we're trying to do for our future.
Absolutely. And we're also going to be doing something new for Season 3, which is...
have a lot of fun and do more heart and stories of people involved with this, and try to take this into a level that relates really well. And we're very excited for our first episode. It's called the Mind and the Heart episode. So it's gotten a few things that we'll be getting into, but I think we've got a couple of things first that we want to get
So
into.
we're going to start Season 3 off with Q&A from the audience. So if you have questions that you want to ask us, go ahead and leave them in the comments below. And then we actually have a series of questions from someone who already threw them in before time. So if you want to read the question, we'll get started.
I would love to. So this is from Ash Haddon. I hope I'm pronouncing your name correctly. Thank you, Ash, for giving us some really great questions. And really, we could do a whole episode on this, but we're going to pick this one question that relates very well to some of the work we're doing today. And so Ash asks, is your device and the over unity producing more energy than it's using? And if so, in what forms? So would you like to give that a shot for Ash?
Yeah, sure. That's a good question. So in terms of energy, whenever anyone says energy, they need to be very specific about what type of energy they're talking about, because the electromagnetic spectrum is extremely long. I mean, you can have gamma, X-rays, ultraviolet, visible light, infrared, and all the way down to radio, right? And so to answer the question, is this arc reactor fusion on demand technology over unity? The answer is yes. But it's not in the energy form that is good for generating electricity at this point. It's only good for transmutation, because we emit a X-ray that is 150 million degrees, which is transmutation effects, not generating heat, but just doing transmutation of the nucleus and the atoms at an atomic level, right?
Right.
And so there is a correlation to the heat temperature of like the quanta, the small scale at the X-ray level. But as you start moving the electromagnetic energy, you can get into like infrared and visible light and all these other things. So from our studies, we do emit about, if you're using astronomy standards, we emit about a 1.2 to 3.2 gigawatts of X-ray energy, the same thing that happens in a sun or a pulsar or even a gamma ray burst as well. So our technology is probably the brightest thing that is on planet Earth when we turn on. Yes.
And did you give us the comparison at the beginning, the input power?
Oh, right. The input power. Very good question. The input power, we can vector it from 1.9 watts all the way up to like 48 watts. And that radiation signature is in the gigawatts output. But again, it's only for transmutation right now.
Yeah, but still wrap your head around that for a minute, right?
Yeah, and so the secrets essentially is a very, very, very efficient electronic system.
Yeah. All right. Well, again, Ash, thank you for bringing that to our attention, and these other questions as well. We continue to invite you to give us questions that we will be happy to take as many as we can. I mean, as time allows. Maybe we have to do a whole segment sometime on just Q&A.
We probably would be kind of cool to do that, because then we can splice it into little segments, and then that way they can just be Q&A for 40 minutes of just slicing them up. So
yeah, and everybody gets good value for their contribution that way too, and participates. So we appreciate again. So thanks everybody.
Yeah.
So I want to take this into the new direction that season 3 gives us a little bit of that pulse we were talking about.
Sure.
And so in that way that it relates to us as humans, all of us, I want to take this into some of the story that we've talked about, but I want to kind of bring it down. You know what I mean by that?
More human level?
Yeah, but also we try to rapid fire, and we try to fire hose, and we try to do a lot of information. We're going to squeeze a little bit more out of this by going slower and being a little more purposeful. So I want to get into the beginning, the very start, because this is the question. I framed these questions in the mind and the heart. So the mind question, the first one is, you're rolling down this ravine, and if you're familiar with the story, the Subaru goes off the road and rolls 12 times, a couple hundred feet down, lands upside down. And that is the beginning of McKane's journey into where we're sitting here today, is where this has taken us at this moment. But take us through the rolling down the ravine and the ravine and the after effects when in your mind. What is your mind processing on the intellectual level?
You're taking me down a PTSD path. 2 years of therapy to fix this.
That's called being human. And this is therapeutic to discuss it in a healthy environment.
All right, great. So what happened was we were going up a ravine, a mountain logging road, and we spent some time with some friends up there, and then we were coming back down the mountain, and we lost control of the Subaru. And I remember vividly, as we were losing control, we were sliding, towards the end of the ravine, and there was no berm, there was no guardrail, no nothing. It was a logging road, and it was just a straight down ravine, essentially, 1,000 yards or more. I mean, it was football field lengths down, right? It was just the abyss, the well. And I remember as soon as the car was going to teeter over, looking down the belly of the ravine and knowing that I can't go back now. Like, whatever is going to happen at this junction in time, my brain was like, buckle up.
Yeah, we have a complete loss of control in this moment, and we're left to fate.
And literally, your brain goes through a million thoughts as you're about to do that. And as you're going through all those thought processes of oh no, what do I do? How do I do this? What's going to happen? Time begins to slow down in your brain perception of the universe. And everything started happening in slow motion.
Yeah.
It felt like a time dilation, almost like your brain was like, hey, to survive, I must do something in the brain to be able to react quickly in the situation to survive. And so as we started tumbling and cartwheeling, it was just loud noises and crashing glass. And the car actually had pickled jars in it. And so they were flying around and hitting everyone in the head. I remember I had blood coming down my face. I know I got hit by something.
That's a detail that we didn't get before, that there were pickled jars in there too.
Oh yeah. And there were socks and clothes and everything, but essentially as we were rolling, you could feel the momentum, and it was going faster, and the roof was getting smaller and getting closer to your head. And my immediate response was to put my feet on the floorboard and throw my hands up on the roof and push, as in protect the head.
Yeah.
And I remember feeling I could count it, 1, 2, 3. It was like being in a wash machine that was getting smaller and smaller and smaller and faster, right?
Agitating into crush. Yeah.
And it actually and I look back at it and have gone through therapy and can laugh at the situation in certain ways. It kind of is like an electron swirling down into the quantum well, it gets faster.
Well, you got a little ahead of me on that one. That was a relatability moment, but yes.
Yes. And as soon as we got to a point where it was all right, I'm going to die on this next turn, I knew I had accepted it. I was okay, it's getting faster, it's getting smaller. I'm about to get crushed like a tin can. And I knew I'm going to die right here. This is it. So I kind of accepted it right there. And then in that moment, when I accepted that I was going to die, the car stopped.
Well, it's a great segue because there's this, the beginning of the aftermath is where the emotion, that's the mind at work and trying to rationalize the moments that are about to transcend into what became a survival.
Mm-hmm.
And then what's next? So you had this probable group of emotions. There was probably some fear, some confusion. So
It was a shock.
slow it down to just the moment when you step out of the car and there's the realization that mind can shut off on part of it because everybody got out of the car. You knew we had survived this.
Yeah.
But now it's this, and it's before the voice. So there's this in between.
Mm-hmm.
What was the moment in the feelings of those moments in the in between?
Boy, the moment we stopped, of course, we were upside down, pinned between a tree and a bunch of other wreckage trees that we'd knocked over. And we were hanging upside down in the car because of seatbelts and everything. If we had not worn seatbelts, someone would have flown out.
Was an upside down world from Stranger Things, but it kind of was.
I mean, that's another analogous thing too to the electron when it's swirling down. Like it'll flip. Mm-hmm. Like the universe flips in a certain weird antimatter-matter flipping action. Like we landed upside down, so everything was backwards at first.
Yeah.
And I heard Alex say, "Hey, I can't get out. I'm pinned. Can you get out your side?" Because I could get out on the back of the passenger side, or the driver's side. Sorry. Oh no, it was the passenger side. My gosh, it was so long ago. And so I tried opening the door while I was upside down, and I couldn't do it because I didn't have enough leverage. So I unbuckled and I fell to the roof. And then I basically tried pushing on the door and I couldn't get it open. So I leaned back and Spartan kicked that door with both my feet, and it popped open because everything was messed up, man.
Yeah.
Like the alignment of the metal was all contorted, and it was a disaster. And so, I get out and I pull Alex out, and then we pull the girls out because the glass had been blown out on their side. So we pull them out. And then at that moment, my wife is rocking back and forth in the snow, and Caitlin can't stand because her knees hurt. And Alex is over there just like in A-frame pose, trying to catch his breath.
Yeah.
And I'm standing there watching, looking at them. I'm looking at the car. I'm seeing the snow come down, and there's nothing. It's just silence.
What are you feeling?
Just shock. Like the blasé. I felt like if I'd had in the Matrix when the guy, Neo takes the gizzard out of his head and then he starts vomiting. Like whatever the world was before that, the Matrix, blasé, the world that you created.
My everyday,
it's gone. Like it was just, everything was destroyed, and this was just this tunnel vision thing, this catastrophe, catastrophe theory, actually, in a way. And then that's when the vision happened.
That's a moment of transition, and it was almost like you needed to be able to stop, appreciate and assess, and then now you're open to this because that kind of a trauma opens up a different part of you, and you are more receptive because in your day-to-day, I bet you don't recognize it or get that's a tap on the shoulder you're not acknowledging.
Yeah, it's like every single day that goes by, people are worried about how much money they're going to make, who they're going to go on a date with, and like how much money can I get in my bank account, what things do I want to buy. And so it's easy to get caught in this little superficial world. But when like a natural disaster comes in and it ruins your world, you start to ask yourself, why did this happen? Is there anything I can do to fix this? And again, if the whole world was to get like a shockwave of like this trauma response in our normal daily lives, like you just felt it, not like it happened to you.
The EMP of that kind of thing,
of like awakening.
Right.
And I think that's kind of what we're doing here with this podcast and telling people about nuclear fusion and what the world can be is we're like an EMP blast of knowledge of like, this is possible.
Well, and hope.
Yeah. Hope.
It's a message that we're bringing with us too. That's not just, that's the brain, but the feeling is hope. The heart is, we're putting it there.
Yeah, and now that, when I had that vision, it was basically like, go, I had the vision of something, and I'm not going to say what it was, but it was definitely something,
Mhm.
like not from this world. And I knew at that moment that that was special. And then I heard the whisper say, hey, you almost just died and you didn't do the one thing we sent you here to do. And
So,
right there.
so I want to ask about the whisper, really free, slower, or even down further.
Oh, okay.
Is this a whisper that is in your head fed to you, or do you hear an external auditory?
That's a great question. It was almost as if my head was ringing. Like if it was from the trauma getting hit by a jar of pickles or whatever, or the rolling, or just accepting that I was going to die and then I didn't, as if I had a new awakening, like I was not the same person.
Mm-hmm.
And it just felt like the brain was pulsing and this whisper was like deep, deep inside my head.
Right.
It was weird.
So it happens, and there's a recognition of a transitory moment in both your kind of your psyche of the day to day is now different,
Mm-hmm.
but there's something that's been kind of embedded, implanted.
Well, it's like if you drop in a seed into the soil, right? And when you put some water on it and you give it the right conditions,
What's going to happen? That thing's going to germinate, isn't it?
It's going to put pressure on the soil, and then it's going to germinate, and then there's going to be this green thing that pops up, and it's like, hey, I'm looking for some sunlight. Where can I find some?
Yeah, we're hoping.
Where can I find some sunlight? I don't know, somewhere around here.
Yeah. Okay. So, and so would you say the confusion cleared in that regard, that all of a sudden now the voice has provided some new input? How long did it take for you to sort through what that meant? Is there clarity that established immediately, or did it take some time? Did it take a little, I need to go through a belief transition? Or was this like, oh no, these are my instructions, I go from here?
Well, of course, when you go back to the monotony of like a matrix life, right? You're like, I got to keep going to work, even though I'm having PTSD from the crash, right? And it's a struggle to be functional, even going to work. Like you'll be like, I remember coaching because I was a pole vault coach. I had my own private pole vault center. I'd go in and coach private lessons, and I would literally just, I would kind of shut down, and they're like, "Are you okay?" And I'm like, "I don't know. I just don't feel right." Huh. And so like it does affect your whole world. And so it every single day that you go through, the whisper keeps whispering. And then you're like, oh, well, I'll go play in the garage. And then all of a sudden you play in the garage and then you feel better. Like the drive was satiated, right?
That's what I was going to call it. Is it's almost like you were a module was installed and running a routine, and it's saying it's pinging you, and you need to kind of get in line with this because we're going somewhere with it, and you just need to catch up and get going.
Boy, that was definitely a nerdy reference, but I like it because that's definitely what it feels like.
Well, I tried to make it relatable. So yeah. In this regard then, so you're starting to slowly lose everything around you because this has now taken a grip on your life, and you're seeing the beginning of the end of some things that are conventional in our lives. You have a marriage, you have a business, you have some things that you would have called my day-to-day, and now you're seeing this literally being eviscerated out of your life in a way that is unconventional and may cause some concern for those that think you might have got a hit with one pickle jar too many in the head.
I mean, I think there was pickle jars, there was like beans jars. I mean, there was everything in that Subaru. But that's what happens when you're married to a hippie princess. You get all the festival stuff in there.
It smells good.
Oh yeah, it smells great. Well, it was like, every little bit of extra money I got, I spent it on tools in the lab, and then every free moment I had, I'd go into the garage and work, and and it was just like, what are you doing spending all that time in the garage, and you're spending money on these things, and what are you doing? Like, I don't know, I'm just trying to do this thing that I don't know what I'm supposed to do. And I just started with splitting water, electrolysis, because you just take 12-volt battery and stick it in, and
Yeah, your
You get
anode
hydrogen.
diode. It was a little bit the Fleshman Ponds, just basically anode diode and just see what
Just
happens.
playing with, metal electrodes and sticking them in water and then watching the bubbles. And for some weird reason, that was really fun. And I was like, hey, let's put that in my BMW and get better gas mileage when I'm going to work. So it started out super duper small, and then it felt good to do that. And then I was like, well, how can I get more hydrogen out of this? Because I did, it's funny, I did see increases in mileage on the car, but after a certain point, the ECU computer would see that was too much oxygen coming out of the exhaust on the lambda sensor, and then it would dump more fuel in. So then the mileage would go bad.
Right.
And so it was as I was learning hydrogen oxygen splitting, I was learning about how the systems of vehicles from manufacturers work, and starting to realize that there's actually some kind of architecture around our everyday lives, almost as like we're in a matrix.
Mm-hmm.
And as you work harder and harder to learn, you're starting to realize that, man, this matrix is not really conducive to like pushing the envelope. It's almost like I'm being trapped in some way. And your brain starts thinking that. It may be true, it may not be true, but it starts thinking that.
Wow, this is a great transition, because the losing everything was kind of the mind question. Now we're getting into the heart, and you just gave us a great segue to that, because there had to be some heartbreaks. There was the loss of your marriage, the loss of your business, and you take them one at a time, and you start going through the steps of, is the weight of carrying this calling that you're supposed to follow through on, did you have questions? Is it worth this expense of this cost it's taking from me? And I'm not seeing back something yet I'm persistent. And there's this tension balance of purpose and cause versus sadness, loss, relationships. There are things that are going on in
questioning yourself, like, what am I doing?
Yeah, so take us through a little about these heartbreaks and the questions that went through, because there had to be some persistence and diligence to this in order to believe, no, I'm doing what I'm now purposed to do.
Yeah, wow, that is, whoa. Yeah, when you're doing these things and being driven by some type of higher dimensional pressure, right? Like, you got to do this, you got to do this, and if you're not doing this, we're going to make you feel uncomfortable, right? And that's what it felt like. Like, every time I would go to a party or go to a family event or even do anything, I just felt empty. I felt like I'm wasting my time doing this thing when I should be doing something else that's more important. And it's almost as if I was sensing a catastrophe pressure that's coming, and I was trying to solve it. Like, for example, when we went down the crash, the moment everything was, done at the bottom of the hill, at the bottom of the well, I had to get on the phone and I had to call 911 dispatch. Like, the moment everything was back to normal and back in action, I had to solve the problem.
Yeah.
And got on the phone, dispatch 911. Where are you located? Well, I'm here. Well, Campbell Nelson Road. We don't know where that is. It's off of Highway 2 somewhere. I know. So just listen to the sirens and they'll guide you in. They'll guide us in. And so literally it was every moment trying to undo a catastrophe and realizing that, like, for example, the firefighters showed up on the hill and they got out, and I was on the top of the hill now. And I said, hey, we're doing do you guys know what to do? And they said, well, we're volunteer. We don't know what to do. I said, oh my gosh, I just became instant commander of this accident I was in.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, okay, you're going to grab the spider straps, the backboard, the longboard backboard, and all the rope you have on the rig, and bring it right here. And they're like, okay, we don't know where that is, but we're going to go try to find it. So literally, I'm trying to undo this thing.
Yeah, you're field commanding this, and it's probably giving you a sense of distraction from the pain of what just happened.
Oh, man.
To take it on and just have to do this, because you're not sitting there. The other three were probably dwelling in the moment where you had to flip a gear and go, boom, let's go.
Well, Alex, he had ran up to the top of the hill to go get Sam at the top of the hill. So he was running his butt off. And when he got to the top, he was actually coughing blood because he had run so hard to get to the top. Remember, there's a picture of, like, when he was at the door, there's like blood on the door from his hand, coughing blood.
Mm-hmm.
But So, I mean, like I'm there, the firefighters show up and they're saying, we don't know what to do. And so we got the backboard ready, we got the rope ready, we got basically the ankle for the rope. And I said, okay, go ahead and tie a bowline knot to the firefighter on the end of that spider or on the strap or on the board. And he says, I don't know how to do a bowline. And so then I had to literally sit there and teach this firefighter how to do a bowline knot.
So he's a volunteer. So in the scheme of things of a fully trained firefighter, a volunteer is a guy that got into the truck and showed up. He just wants to do everything he can, and he's prepared for probably seeing the worst that a firefighter or a state patrolman or something does. But he's also probably showed up a little ill prepared, and that's unfortunate that both of them were untrained.
Mm-hmm.
However, they had the resources and were able to do it. You had the ability based on experience.
Yeah.
And so
prior knowledge.
It took a fortuitous coming together for materials and resources and know-how to make that a better situation.
And I think that that's a very good analogy to like what we're doing here with this movement with quantum kinetics. It's like, for whatever reason, I have been given some type of information about physics and electronics, and it works. And my job is to teach everyone how to tie a bowline knot.
Yeah.
So we can get out of this catastrophe that we're heading towards. It's almost like preemptively trying to stop you from going over the hill again.
Yeah. Well, that's great. So this is now kind of a monument for you, and I'm sure that date comes and goes. The loss of your marriage, the loss of your business. I kind of wanted to put a bow on that before we move on.
Mm-hmm.
The feelings that you had of loss and transition, and then coming through and still sticking with this, that has more than a lot of people, probably 99% of the people out there would be able to understand or endure themselves. You were called to do something, you embraced it at great expense.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And so do you feel that how do you place the value of losing a marriage you care about and losing a business you care about to pursue this? What would you say that felt like?
Well, it was kind of a slow, gradual chipping away type of situation. It wasn't just abrupt, everything was gone. It was just slowly sliding out from under me. And so as I was reading books about like Oliver Heaviside, Nikola Tesla, Maxwell, and, all these people, that what they had to do to make the big discovery and become like original founding father of electricity or original founding father of telegraph or the electromagnetic radiation, the great treatise of Maxwell. Like these people, they had to sacrifice and they had to work really hard and be in solitude to make that happen. And though people on the outside didn't understand what they were doing and sacrificing, down the road, they would eventually learn, they were actually searching for the pearl of great price of that time, right? Like the telegraph, the radio, the transistor, the TV tube. And so all these people in history is our society, Randall, is based on a pyramid of technological advancements because of sacrifice from men and women that had a calling and then were called to action and did it. And there are plenty of people that get this calling too. Believe me, I've talked to people that have these callings that they just don't know what to do with it. And matter of fact, they're so upset that they don't know what to do that it actually makes them go mildly nuts. And then they feel uncomfortable and they don't feel like they fit, but they don't know what it is they're supposed to do. And that's kind of like, that's a very sad thing because they know they got to do something, but they don't have a direction. Well, so thank goodness that we have a direction.
So you've associated losing some of these things, and I'm not picking on you when I say.
Oh, you can pick on me all you want, buddy.
I'm not. It's more for clarity.
I've got a drink in my hand, bro. You can pick on me all you want.
Make mine a double. So this is one of those questions where you're making sacrifices, and yet you're recognizing for some of these other people to do that or miss that you're kind of on the outskirts of nuts. To go through with it though, and to lose so much, the observation, therefore, you would advance that thinking to a conclusion that you might be full on nuts, right? or
Oh,
no, hold on.
no, no.
I'm not saying it in a malicious or bad way. I'm saying it with this idea because I fully respect your perseverance. I understand. I'm trying to ask you in a way that relates to the loss
Yeah.
of marriage and a loss of this.
Uh-huh.
Most people would say, okay, I'm not willing to do that. I know you loved your wife. I know you loved the
Yeah,
business you
I
had.
did. I loved it all.
I want to kind of just get through that with kind of how you
Mhm.
felt, and then we'll move on. Okay.
Yeah. So, oh man, like I loved everything about my life at that time. You know, I enjoyed my wife. I enjoyed the pole vault. I enjoyed, all the things. I mean, I was making money. I could do the things I want to do. I can go on cruises. I can
Yeah.
do all this. It was great.
Conventionally, you were successful.
I was, and I was the best situation possible. I was teaching the pole vault, which is something I love to teach, and getting paid to do it. That's like the most amazing thing ever, right? I had the freaking creme de la creme life, and then it was completely derailed, elastically scattered, antimatter, boom, full total annihilation event. Like goodbye. Now you're doing something else, and I say to you, like, in looking back, it's okay. And there were days I was struggling with that. And matter of fact, I still struggle with it. It's like being the inventor or an inventor of this level, like a Nikola Tesla level or a Oliver Heaviside level. Like these people were scrutinized, spat on, cussed at, ridiculed, kicked sand in their face. I mean, and you know what? Who cares? Because this is how things change.
Well, and if you're called to this, you were given instruction, then follow that up with you're at the end of your rope and you've had a moment where you realize I have failed. I'm going to cash this in and just say, I'm done.
There was that.
But there was another incident where, again, a moment happens.
Well, that was actually, I locked myself in the garage and I was working with, electronics and coils and oscilloscopes and pulse things. And, I can't tell you how many variacs I exploded and then had to rewrap and then like resolder, like that. And that's the thing about too, is when you're an inventor, you start to learn that it's okay to make mistakes. Matter of fact, that's the only way to get going forward. And then you look at Edison, and you go, oh, Edison did the light bulb 1,000 ways wrong before it actually worked.
How many times did it take for Edison to make it right?
Oh, it was like hundreds and hundreds.
How many times did it take to make it right? Just once.
And that's the thing, is once you do it the one time and it works, your brain and your soul goes, what is that?
And then
on the table.
And then the journey begins, because perfect segue. So we've spoken now to the heart of your situation, at the cost that it took.
Yeah.
And felt that, and I just want to, again, before we wrap that, just say we're not here without that sacrifice and recognizing it and what it took to endure some things that would say to a conventional person, look, I can't make that sacrifice. I want to make my monthly rent or house payment and carry on. And they would miss out. And I wonder if there are lives that have been lived and don't ask those questions, or don't take those risks, or understand that to make something genuinely different in our world will take that level of commitment.
Wow. Yeah. That's true. And I mean, I had to move back home and work in a garage for all that time, right? I had to really just let go of everything. I had to let go of my friends. I'd let go of everything. Just disappear, like go into a hole, go back into the quantum kinetic well, and figure out what is this secret thing that the whisper keeps emitting some whispering energy about.
Yeah.
And then you do that. And then I couldn't figure it out. And then I was hit with just a huge amount of sorrow and depression. And like, I didn't do it. I lost everything. And then essentially that whisper came back again, exactly the same feeling. And it said, oh, you're so close. Just do it like this. Everything you have on the table is legit. Just do it like this and redesign it. And I thought to myself, Nobody in the world would do that. I spent, all this time studying electronics, reading books, going online and reading about electronics, and nobody would do it that way, right? And because I was at the end of my emotional rope and I was ready to kill myself, I said, I don't have anything to lose here. I might as well just do that. And just, if it does work, great. If it doesn't, then I'm done. And then I did it the way that I was told to do it, turned it on, and bam, there was this huge amount of bubbles and low power watts. And I'm like, dude, I've never seen anything like that before. And I've been doing this a long time, splitting water.
Yeah, but you were doing it with the conventions of everybody's previous experience and trying to aggregate something new. You cannot make something new out of everything that already exists unless you add cinnamon and sugar to make new kind of toast, right? Well, that's
Cinnamon Toast Crunch, baby.
So just saying, you were limited with what was available to work with.
Yes.
This became a very clear cinnamon, sugar, and
put a patent on that Cinnamon Toast Crunch. That's delicious, right? Yeah. And I knew it was really special just from visually seeing the reaction. But then I actually started getting a headache, a mild headache, like, just like I'm tired headache.
Mm-hmm.
Because then when I figured it out, I started playing with it more, and I was looking down the barrel, and I was like turning the knob and be like, man, trying to get closer and look at it. And I started getting these weird headaches, and I'm like, oh, maybe I shouldn't stick my nose down the barrel, And then it occurred to me, like, how many months later, maybe this is some type of nuclear reaction.
Right. So this is pre some of the sophisticated equipment now to do the measurement.
Yeah. And so I was just like, electrolysis, it's super safe, all this stuff, and blah, blah, blah. And so I was like, well, let me go buy my a small little smart Geiger counter for an iPhone or something, right? So I buy like the $50 Geiger counter, and I plug it in and calibrate it and put it over the reactor, and bam, it's going off. And I'm like, well, wait a minute. No way is this thing nuclear. This is silly.
Yeah.
And then I was like, well, I got this cheapo Geiger counter.
There wasn't this reaction. Uh-oh, this is nuclear.
No, it didn't.
What have I done?
It didn't really occur to me that it was so significant.
Yeah.
And it didn't occur to me that this was something that nobody knows how to do. It was just me in the garage doing the normal exploration, one little step at a time, one little baby step at a time. And that's all when you're an inventor, that's all you know, that's all you do. But then it occurred to me that maybe this is nuclear fusion. Because I started doing research on it and all that. I'm like, looks like nuclear fusion.
Right.
It's acting like nuclear fusion. I'm seeing weird black magnetite rocks in the sedimentation of the reactor, and the electrodes not falling apart. And the more I read about astronomy and the more I read about these reactions, I was like, geez, in the nuclear reaction, light atoms go towards iron, carbon, and heavy elements go towards iron too. And so at first I was like, well, let me get the sediment tested at the University of Washington to see what these little rocks are. And so we got the, electron microscope to find out what they were, and they're iron, carbon, nickel, and they're magnetic, paramagnetic, and mildly, it's like lodestone.
Okay.
And the guy at the math center, the electron microscope, he was like, when he was looking at the electron microscope on the screen and the sediment, and we're getting really close to it, he started seeing these quasi-crystal formations, and he's like, what are you doing in the lab to make these quasi-crystal shapes? And I was like, I don't know. I'm just turning it into electrolysis. And he's like, are you sure that's electrolysis, dude?
Did you have a pretty good hunch?
I already knew.
Oh, yeah, I know you knew.
I already knew.
Yeah.
I just like to see their face when what I like to do is I let the people tell me what they're seeing. I don't tell them hey, it's nuclear fusion, and at least in the beginning.
Well, you get an honest evaluation that way too, instead of an argument that it could or could not be that.
Right. And actually we've done that too recently with studies of the water that we have over here,
right,
which we'll talk about in a later episode. But
right,
it's nuclear fusion using the arc reactor fusion on demand technologies is really cool. It's going to save your guys' pocketbooks. It's going to save your guys' health. It's going to save everything that you think that is going towards calamity right now. It's going to just make your world better.
Yeah.
You just don't know it yet.
Right. So that being said, and we've established this now, and then my next, moving on from the heart of that, what had happened with your life kind of falling apart.
Can I say one thing though?
Yeah.
Just real closing on that.
Shoot.
That everything that I did in the lab was based on someone else's discoveries before me. All I did was take the next step. Just like in the Jurassic Park thing with, Hammond, and they're at the lunch, and they're saying, you're nothing special. You just took the next step from the next guy over, but you never really had any respect for it. No. I have respect for this. And so should you. Yeah. We all should.
This was given to you, by the way. So there's something to that that's extraordinary, and we could pull that apart in a whole episode of what that actually looks like in application and so forth. But speaking of application, it's a great segue to our next.
Hey, this drink is really speaking to me.
Yeah, I've gotten through mine. So the next of the mind pieces is the corporate valley of death. Every company that is a startup has to face this. It's the area where a discovery is made until it is funded to where it's now going to become commoditized, commercialized, whatever. And we've made significant progress, but I want to talk about the obstacle course, I would call it, because I've been along enough of this ride now to have kind of seen the juke, the duck, the leap, the things you have to do.
The Superman moves, the Iron Man moves.
Maybe the Iron Man moves, yeah. But it takes some nimble, strategic consideration in order to avoid certain things and move forward on certain things, and then recognize who your friends, who your enemies, who your, the heroes, the villains, the cowards, they're all playing in this field that we're going through. And I'd say so far we've survived. We're getting close now, and we'll talk about that before we close a little bit about where we're going on our business. But I wanted to talk about the obstacle course, some of the things that we can talk about that we faced, to give hope, if nothing else, to those who are trying to do something that looks like you have a thing and you want to get to somewhere. Let this serve as inspiration. And for those of you who just simply are following the story, take a minute to understand and appreciate what we've been through. Do you want to talk a little about our obstacle course of the corporate valley of death, and I'll throw in what I can.
Oh, sure. So we started Quantum Kinetics Corporation back in 2018, and we started filing for patents a little bit before that. And through this adventure, this journey, we've met a lot of people, and a lot of those people have disappeared and are no longer around. And we've felt the echo of pain from what they've done to us. And just so everyone knows that starting a corporation is tough, making a product is hard, and especially if it's nuclear fusion. Like, this is not a pen. This is not a new hair clip. This is not a new, car. No, this is nuclear fusion. And it's really even harder than that because we have a academic pariah associated with it from the 1990s with the Fleischmann's Mann thing.
And it goes back further.
And that's, by the way, that's PTSD, by the way, societal PTSD.
Correct.
I had people comment and say, oh, this reminds me of Fleischmann's and Pons, bullshit crap, blah, blah. And I just had to stop them and say, bro, you have PTSD. We all do. And it's going to take time of love and, education and teaching you that it's okay. It's all right.
Yeah. There's a societal reformation, in other words, that without this effort to communicate this and demonstrate it, which we've demonstrated, which we've gone and had tested and verified, you cannot change hearts without...
Extraordinary claims require extraordinary evidence.
Correct.
And so what we've done, and I actually kind of knew this, as soon as we got the detectors from Dr. Max, and we saw that there was X-rays, we saw that there was light gamma, we saw that there was even neutron fluxes if we turned the voltage up high. We knew right there that this is most certainly nuclear fusion. And when I talked to on a Zoom call during COVID, the COO of Google, cold nuclear fusion at the time, on the Zoom call, he said, "You have everything that we're looking for." That's what he said. And he didn't help us.
No, because they want to. They either want to steal it or they just are waiting to see if they can usurp the technology somehow.
There's actually that's a whole nother thing that we could talk about too. Is like when you, and this is what's so interesting about the United States patent and trademark, is like when you apply for something, like you're applying for the ownership of that idea. And then you own the rights to that idea, which means no one can steal it, or they're not supposed to. But that doesn't stop people from stealing it. They will steal it. By the way, I've had conversation with the people on the phone that said directly to my face, if you don't have $6 million in the bank, we're going to steal it. Because that's how much it costs to do legal fees to like stop these big corporations. And so you have to understand that when you come into this space, it's really challenging because you're trying to cultivate this like pearl. You don't want to get it dirty. You don't want to get it scratched. You don't want to drop it.
You don't want somebody to come along and shuck your oyster.
Good one. Mollusk are the best.
Yeah.
So
I've got the heart question now to follow up that. So that's the mind question. We had some obstacles and we have some definite things that we've endured. But I want to talk about a little bit about how does this reshape your view of people and the world we live in? Does this
right.
gut punch you with anger? Does it
Ooh.
it give you encouragement that we already knew that bad people and things are out there? We've also seen some good people that have helped us along.
Yes.
So what give me a little bit about the view of the people in the world we're in.
So this technology, and I've actually told you this, and I've told Brighton this, and I've told anyone that comes in and tries to help us, the first thing I try to tell everyone is that this technology is going to put you to the test. It's going to prove to you who you really are, you know, what you're really made of. Like, and believe me, I've met some really nasty people, and so have you.
Oh yeah.
And like what I see about this is like we become kind of like these lecturers, these professors, these maybe even a disciple would be a good word for it, where we're just trying to do the right thing and teach the right thing to the people. And whoever wants to listen can listen. But it's a tough question because we're trying to do the best we can with the means that we have.
Right.
And it is so challenging to do this because it's expensive. It's their system, right? Like you have to pay to play.
As in anything.
And that's another thing that like going and getting in the car to go to work, you're paying to play. But imagine if you poured some dielectric in your car that you got from your faucet instead of a gas station. I mean, just think of the world, right? Like this is the world that is possible. And this is the world that we need to have. Because if we don't get that world within the next 15 years.
I would posit less than that.
I was trying to be nice and generous so that people wouldn't yell at me and be like, he's a hysterical, crazy person. But I would say that with all the weather changes and all the flooding and all that stuff, like we are running out of time. And the solution's here. Thank goodness it's here because we're heading towards the cliff and we're going to go over the cliff unless someone, says, hey, I want to learn how to tie a bowling knot. Teach me and let's go. Right.
Yeah. Well, guess what? You're segueing out of the heart from that. And thank you for sharing really on all of this. This was meant to be the mind and the heart episode. I think you really shared well and given us something that we can share with others that now they can consider not just our journey, but a little bit more of the story and invest in it from the perspective of, look, these guys are putting everything they have into this.
We are.
It's come at cost for all of us.
Yeah, everyone.
It's come with hope of delivering something extraordinary. And we're very close, which is a great segue to our next bit of our exciting business growth and opportunities. So I know that we on the board can say we've got plenty that we're talking about,
Mhm.
and not a lot of it we can probably share. But what can we share? And I'll let the CEO discern
Ooh.
what goes through the filter
Hey,
to go out into the ether.
last time you did that, I got in trouble. But okay. Yeah. So
I'll give you one of
yeah, you
these.
give me a
Okay,
little
there you
hit
go.
and tell me, hey, you know, you got a little earpiece here.
Yeah.
I'll just say this: that we're definitely getting a lot of traction in terms of communication, and starting having people ask questions about, you know, what's your technology, what's going on. You know, no one's really, you know, come up to the batter's box. They're kind of like they're coming out of the dugout.
They're going to the on deck circle.
They're going into the on deck circle, you know, getting their tar on their bat and kind of swinging it around, like kind of deciding if they want to come to plate.
Yeah.
Right.
See what your pitch is. Pardon the pun.
It's going to be the curved knuckleball or something. I don't know. No, but yeah, we're really excited about talking with people. We have a great time talking with people, and we're doing demonstration with people that have questions, and we're, you know, if they want to come and look at it, we'll show them. And you know, it's, you know, nuclear fusion is not exactly what you think it's going to be. It's a little bit more beautiful. It's a little bit more graceful, almost like a tree that grows fast. You know, like you're promoting carbon sequestration from a reactor. Like, it's a tree. That's what trees do. They do photosynthesis, but this is like electron capture photosynthesis, right? Except it's super fast.
They give us oxygen.
Oh, yeah, they do that too. Yeah, because that's actually, I mean, some would say that that's a chemical reaction, which it kind of is, but it's also kind of not. And Richard Feynman actually kind of, I was watching some of the videos lately, but now I'm digressing to something else. But he was essentially talking about how imagination is the key to quantum physics, and learning quantum thermodynamics is like, if you don't have an imagination, you're not going to make any discoveries. You're going to be rigidified in a box. So let's have some fun is basically what he's saying. Let's go and imagine the future.
Yeah. I see what the future looks like in many regards in my mind. And that is the impetus, because I'm part of the strategic element of this.
You are.
To grow this into various business streams, various concepts that become realities, a little of what my own background has purveyed into some things in the past that have succeeded.
Mr. COO over here.
I'm in it to win it with you, bro.
Yeah. Hey, we're honestly, we are winning. I mean, we are scratched, bruised, beaten, black-eyed, the whole thing, but we're winning. And I'm going to tell you a little story that happened 3 days ago.
Mm-hmm.
I went into the bank. Actually, I was at the teller's check-in, and she said to me, "Is there anything else we can do for you, Mr. Lee?" And of course, a million things flew through my head, like, yeah, you can help me with nuclear fusion. But then I said to myself, don't do that. I said, hey, I have a question for you. It's a hypothetical question. She's like, okay, sure, tell me. You know, because, you know, bankers they want to hear your stories and stuff. I said, okay, imagine you have cold nuclear fusion patented, trademarked, research verified, copyright protected, and published in NPJ Clean Water. But the super rich people don't want to help you, and the really poor people love your movement, are super excited, but can't help. And she looked at me and she started laughing, and I'm like, oh my gosh, why is she laughing? And then she said, that is the ultimate dilemma.
Yeah, it is.
And there is no answer, because I can't think of one.
Yeah.
But then she said, the only thing that I can come to my head right now is that all you can do is keep on keeping on.
Yeah. Stay the course. Push this thing on. Every day we get up and we're looking for ways to advance it. On our list of things as far as business growth, we also have some communications that may be beneficial to our immediate future that we're working on as well. And that will help pop the top off the thing as well.
I would say that, and I had this vision this morning as I got up, as I was getting ready. I was like thinking to myself, we are one news interview away. Like if we got put on, like, you know, King 5 News, if we got put on MSNBC News, or even 60 Minutes, or any of these things, we are one interview away from the world going,
Wow.
There
Why
it
aren't
is.
they out there
Yeah.
doing this for
Boom.
everyone?
There it is.
Right.
Because everything has already been done. This is the most, and this is another thing I wanted to mention when we were talking about the research and, all the struggles,
Mhm.
is that as soon as we learned it was a nuclear reaction with water, I had to figure out the path of how to get this through the forest without the crows stealing the bread.
Mhm.
I had to lay breadcrumbs. And it wasn't just me. It was my family was helping and all that. And now you're helping and now Brighton's helping and all these other people are coming in and it's great. It's still hard. But I had to figure out a way to even write the manuscript in such a way that it was technically perfectly sound, but it never said, this is nuclear fusion. Because the moment you say nuclear fusion, you're done.
Yeah, there's a label that
Game
comes with that.
over.
People don't believe you. All of a sudden, they cannot dispel their disbelief because of the history, and that again, that
PTSD.
that propagates throughout time because it's just been assumed and passed on. Well, those things can change too, and that's a reality that's coming. And
There's some people upstairs at the big boy's office that are pissed right now because we've got through the gauntlet.
Well, we've got
It's like getting in the club.
that
We got in the
corporate
club.
valley of death. It's almost like you can see we're through. It's like going through maybe Death Valley as an analogy. There's a ridge
Desert, yes.
and another ridge and this long stretch of flat, dry, hard pan, and you've got to get your covered wagon all the way over to the other side. You know what?
Mm-hmm.
We can see that ridge getting close, and we are almost there.
Yeah, it's really exciting to see that this is literally the furthest that cold nuclear fusion has ever gotten in history. And you guys are literally in the hot seat watching firsthand. And like just the other day, we got a trademark granted for on the
that's
Gazette.
Right. That's actually
on the
big news.
Gazette.
We should have been doing that at the beginning.
Breaking news.
But this is a big one.
Yeah, so the United States Patent and Trademark Office granted the safe nuclear trademark, and we put it on the Gazette, so it's under review right now. But it's for safe nuclear, and in that class, or multiple classes, it has particle accelerators for cold nuclear fusion, weather manipulation for cold fusion, high energy particle beams for nuclear fusion, and also like new types of repulsion technology for nuclear fusion.
Yeah, and do you know, stacked with some of the other trademarks that we've got now, stacked with those other trademarks is the omnibus patent. There's a few of these others. All of a sudden, McKane, there's this pretty solid piece of legal standing that is protecting us as well.
Yeah.
That little step above now, we're dragging all this with us, and we've got an awesome legal team. We've got, we're well equipped, and I have to say, we're that close.
This is like if in the Lord of the Rings, the Fellowship of the Rings, where they're sitting there trying to figure out how do we get the ring to Mordor. I'm telling you, all great science fiction movies are based on the journey that is the hero's journey.
Right.
And literally, if you look at the arc reactor and the fusion technology, it is the one ring to rule them all. And whoever rules the ring, if they have bad intentions and evil heart, that's the universe you're going to get. If someone comes in who's a boy, who is a man, who likes Iron Man and plays around with toys, like you're going to get a fantastical world of like Halo characters running around and Iron Man suits. Like, is that the world you want? Yeah, I want that. I know you guys want that, but we got to actually act.
Let's start with maybe some nuclear waste remediation.
Oh yeah.
We'll stay in our lane as far as applications. Maybe some future development of things that help us with the dreams that we have for those business dreams, and we'll leave it at that. So
yeah. And there's politics involved with going to Hanford, and we've actually talked to people that say like literally we're super excited about your technology. We have nothing. We say nothing wrong about like the fact that you can do electrophysical transmutation, EPT. You got it. You can do it. It's not even the problem anymore. We've gotten to the point where we did the science. We did that right. We did the research right. We did the patent and legalization right. We're doing the communication and marketing right. people copying us. And now it becomes political. Though we don't want it to be political because this is a pure movement of love and change and beauty and cleaning up the world and making it so we don't get cancer anymore. Man, why like if I was an alien and I came to Earth and I looked at this movement going
the super objective
yeah,
viewpoint,
like
why aren't they
completely
doing
objective.
this?
Wait, why don't they help him?
Yes, exactly. It's like, oh, come on. Okay, so let's start to head towards wrap now. So we want to give a huge, oh, by the way, thank you. That is the last of the heart pieces
Great.
of Mind and Heart.
Mhm.
We got through a few things. Thank you again
Hey.
for being, I'd call it a bit vulnerable, and maybe very...
Bro, we're carrying the torch up to cold nuclear fusion at the global stage. I think we're a little bit vulnerable.
Yeah. And so, again, I thank you. The heart and the mind, you did excellent. I think it sets a great tone for season 3.
Mhm.
I look forward to these next 7 episodes. We'll talk about that in a second. But I want to give a huge shout out to our investors in particular.
Thanks for sticking in.
You for sticking in, because we are going to make this as worth it as we can. We're putting everything we have into getting this over the line. That corporate valley of death, like I said, I think our wagon sees the trail on the ridge up
We got a
ahead.
couple of cracks in the wheels, and the top is kind of falling off. And
Maybe a few cranky passengers.
there's a couple of arrows, from the Indians on the side. We're struggling, but we're gonna make it.
We're going to. But also, thank you, subscribers and people that just check in on us, that make comments, continue to grow this channel for us and with us. We are so grateful for you. Thank you for coming on board. This is just still getting going. Even if we were to hit our big milestone soon, we're going to continue to do the podcast because we believe in sharing and sharing this with the people that need to know, because this will be telling our story.
Yeah.
Riley's writing these chronicles, and we want to make sure this story includes everyone and including you. So
yeah. And you guys are coming along for the journey of cold nuclear fusion. I was thinking about this last night. I was going to bed. It's so weird. Right before podcast, my brain goes on hyperdrive. I don't know why, but I was thinking to myself, like, every time something happens on the corporate level of Quantum Kinetics, like, for example, we get a trademark. I feel like I should just promote that to the world and like sit down and say, hey, this is what happened. This is what's going on, so that you guys know step by step what's going on in this corporation and in this function within NDA rules. But like, you guys need to be totally engaged with this so that if something happens to us, that the steps too, that nobody forgets. Like, it's the greatest story ever told, potentially. Like, if you want to win, these are the steps.
Yeah. And this is the cost sometimes.
I'm still bleeding. Oh.
Okay. So everybody remember to like, share, subscribe to the channel, tell your friends. Thank you again so much from our hearts. We really appreciate you. We're going to have a great episode coming up next time.
Yes, I just had a blank. Who is coming on? I think it is. Oh yeah, it's Maximus, Dr. Maximus.
And that's recording in a couple of weeks. So,
yes.
And again, I will say,
I don't know why I drew a blank. There's so much going on right now in this company, and my brain is
but most of it's good. Though. I mean, there's always going to be the little.
And actually, did you know that Maximus is working on nuclear fusion himself? His actual reactor. He's like stepping up from detectors to. He's got something new.
Well, if he can figure out it's making it happen, why not be the thing that it's happening from? So
yeah, it's going to be so fun. Like, this whole movement, like, guys, it's not just us. There's other people doing this too. I mean, it's so cool. To be alive in this moment right now is just
absolutely
epic.
Absolutely. One last clink of the glass on
finish it off.
All ready to finish that.
So if you have any questions, go ahead and make sure you put them in the comments so we can actually ask those questions and answer those questions in the next episode. But again, thanks for coming along. It's so good to see you guys in season 3. And
we've just begun. So let's go season 3.
Yeah, here we go, guys. Thanks for tuning in.
Thanks for tuning in. Bye, everybody.
All right, take care.